everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Moran. Here I share my CrochetObjet knitting journey mostly, sometimes mixed with life stuff and homemaking and everything that brings me joy. You can find me on Instagram as CrochetObjet, on Facebook, on Etsy, where you can find my patterns and sometimes my colorful cotton kits. You can find me also on Ravelry as CrochetObjet, where I also have my patterns. I'm coming to you from Israel, from my home studio, and today is July 6th, Thursday, July 6th. Yeah, there are quite a few new followers here on my YouTube channel, so welcome and thank you so much for joining. And also, if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. Yeah, today I'm here mostly for a WIP update, and I think this will be an update related to a few questions I received here on my last episode, a few questions you left on my last episode, and also some questions I received on Instagram DMs. So thank you so much for taking the time, leaving a comment, and for your questions and for your interest in the things and projects that I shared. Yeah, and I would like to suggest that if you have a question, I think it is better to leave your question down below in the comment section, down below this video or on any video. And this way, I think your question might be interesting for another viewer or a few other viewers. So when you ask me a question here on the comment section, you give me a chance to answer and give others a chance to read my answer and read your question, and maybe it can be interesting also for them. While if you leave me a question via DM on Instagram, it's only a conversation between me and you, and nobody can see the answers. So I think this is going to be a better way to leave your questions down here in the comment section. Yeah, so thank you so much for your questions, and yeah, I will in this video try to answer a few of them. All are related to my WIPs, and this will be a WIP update episode. So first I want to start with my new granny square blanket, which I think was most questions I received were related to this blanket. So it still lives in my Nina bag. My Nina bag pattern is available in my Etsy shop and also on Ravelry, but I guess I will have to find it maybe a bigger bag soon. So yeah, let's start with this blanket making. Let's start with this crochet project, and I will try to answer all the questions one by one. So first, I'm using a knitting for olive merino wool for this blanket, and I have checked it for you, and on the knitting for olive website, this wool is they mentioned on the description of this wool that it's a fingering weight. So on my last episode I wasn't sure about if it's fingering or light fingering, but they write that on their website that this is a fingering weight wool, and I'm using color soft rose. So what I do, I follow my solid square pattern YouTube tutorial here on YouTube. I will link it down below for you. I follow the solid square pattern and I crochet 5 rounds of solid square. The whole square is made out of 7 rounds, but I start by making 5 rounds of solid square, and then on the 6th round I add these popcorn stitches in the corners. So in each corner I make a 5 double crochet popcorn stitch, 3 chain stitches for the corner, and another 5 double crochet popcorn stitch or bubble stitch, or whatever you want to call it. But this is what I do on round 6. So all the other stitches on round 6 get a double crochet on top of each stitch, but on the corners I make 2 popcorn stitches and chain 3 between them. And then on the 7th round, which is the last round, I continue with the solid square construction or method. So the 7th round is also a solid square construction. I think this is the right way to say it. And I keep on the corners, I make 2 double crochet, 3 chain stitches and 2 double crochet, and this is because I plan to join my squares using this front slip stitch method, which I also have a tutorial here for this joining method here on my YouTube channel. I will try to remember to link it down below for you, but you can find it in the tutorial, crochet tutorial in my YouTube channel. And yeah, before I will show you what I plan for the joining, I just want to mention that I like to close my last round using the invisible join. So this is why I crochet the last double crochet and I don't close the round with a slip stitch as you would do normally, but I leave it and I fasten off or break the yarn and pull the loop all the way up, leaving a little bit of a yarn end. And that's because I'm going to close this round using the invisible join. And yeah, I also have an invisible join tutorial here on YouTube. So I think this weekend, if I have the time, I am going to close all my squares with the invisible join. So as you can see, I crochet my squares, but I don't close them. I leave it for, it's a separate job. So I think I have to sit down and do that because I already have more than 20 squares to make the invisible join. So it will take a little time. Each square is about 12 centimeters by 12 centimeters. So they are not huge, but they are not small. And I plan to join them and make it a blanket. And I plan to join them using, as I told you, using the front slip stitch method. And that's why I also like to close the last round using the invisible join, because it looks more neat, I think, and seamless on the joining. Because on the front slip stitch method, I'm going to use back loops only, and I don't like when I have the slip stitch closing the last round. I don't like the way it looks. It doesn't look perfect to me. It looks okay, but it doesn't look perfect to me. So yeah, and my idea was that when I join the squares, sometimes I don't fasten off, so you see, if I don't take the last loop out, it can easily rip back my work. But my plan is to join my squares together so that when 4 corners meet together, I hope you can see it, there's a little bit of like, I think, a piazza of these popcorn stitches made meet together. So 4 of these couples meet in each corner when it will be joined, and it's something I wanted to make for quite a long time. I started to make this kind of granny square, I think maybe 2 years ago, and I was planning this idea and having this idea in my head for quite a while, and yeah, now I'm going to make it. So this blanket will take a little time to make, and of course when I have more projects on the go. So, but usually I crochet, a square or 2 maybe with my morning coffee. And yeah, I think the last thing I wanted to share and the last question I wanted to answer is regarding how many balls will I use. So how many balls will I use or how many balls you will have to use depends on the size of blanket you want to make. So I can maybe help you by saying that each ball of the Knitting for Olive Merino, each ball of this wool makes 8 of these squares. Each square is 12 by 12 centimeter. So now you can calculate how many balls will you need for your squares. Usually, the bigger the blanket is, the more balls you will need for the framing for the border. So I'm not quite sure yet how long or what exactly the size of the throw that I'm going to make. I would like to have it as a throw on our bed, but I'm not sure what size I'm going to make it. So for the time being, I enjoy crocheting my squares, and here in the studio I order a wool from Knitting for Olive quite often for my knitters and crocheters for the groups, the weekly groups here. So I will order a few more balls in the future, and then maybe a few more balls, and I will make a progress step by step, and I will finally decide what size I want it. But you have all the information you need to know in order to calculate how many balls you need. Here in Israel, we also have custom limitations. So if the package is over $75, we will need to pay customs. But sometimes if you take the shipping cost in consideration, you might decide that the custom fee is it's worth paying the custom fee more than the shipping price. So it's a little bit of calculation. Anyway, I will decide about the size of blanket as I go. Yeah, and I use a 3mm crochet hook to make my blanket. I usually use, I have, so I have both these crochet hook in my project bag, in my Nina bag, but I mainly use the Clover Amour. Yeah, this is, the most comfortable crochet hook for me. Yes, so another one more one more square. Yeah, so this is the third ball that I will finish. So this is what is left from my third ball. I have 23 squares made, and I will make one more square from the third ball, so 24 in total, 8 squares out of one ball. And when I'm done and the ball is finished, I have this left after I finish 8 squares. This is what is left when I finish 8 squares, and I plan to use it for mainly for the joining, for the front slip stitch joining. So this is regarding to my new granny square blanket. Yeah, and now let's move on to the second WIP, and my second WIP is another blanket. It's a knitting project, and it lives in Marimekko, my Marimekko bag, which I'm so in love with. Yeah, so the next project is my Coziest memory blanket. I started it, I think maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. I started with a sample just to make sure I'm on top of the things. I wasn't really sure I will continue making it as a whole blanket. I was thinking about it with my weekly knitters friends, and yeah, I think I started up my Coziest memory journey. So a little bit about this project. So yeah, you can see tons of knitters are busy knitting this lovely scrappy blanket, and no wonder, because it's a true joy to knit. I really enjoy, and I can say, I think for sure after this week that I'm pretty magnetized to this project. So every time I have a minute, I want to add a square, and it's pretty addictive kind of knitting project. So you have all kind of Coziest memory blankets. You can search for the Coziest memories blanket hashtag on Instagram, and you will get a lovely library of all sorts of these pretty blankets to see. So, and you have a lot of people, a lot of YouTubers here on YouTube, a lot of makers that share their WIPs, their work in progress, and they share all the details. But now I will share the details regarding my blanket and trying to answer your questions. So first, first I use a fingering weight yarn, and I use leftovers, mainly leftovers from sock wool that I have here, and my lovely knitters from the weekly groups have. So it's a fingering 4-ply fingering weight 4-ply wool, mostly superwash merino, a few like hand dyed or not hand dyed. So it's a mixture, of both. My squares are 40 stitches each. So the original square in the pattern, it's a free pattern on Ravelry. I don't remember the name of the designer, but you can find it on Ravelry. I will try to put it here on the screen for you. The original pattern tells you to cast on 46 stitches. So my blanket is made out of 40 stitches. Each square is 40 stitches, and I knit my blanket using the signature needles, signature art needles. Yeah, this is how it calls. I use the 7-inch length with a stiletto tip, and I chose, I think, I'm not sure if it's the bell or I'm not sure how they call this tip on their website, and I knit my blanket on a 2.5 millimeter needles. I tried to use 2.75, but I found that 2.5 are better for my knitting tension and for the result I want to get for my scrappy blanket. I start the row with knitting the first stitch through the back loop, and I knit the last stitch. I don't knit the last stitch, I slip the last stitch with the yarn held in front. As I slip the last stitch purlwise with the yarn held in front. So these are also two things that I changed. Why I do that? I do that because it makes nicer stitches, edge stitches, that you can easily pick up through these edge stitches to attach the new square. And on the first row, when I add a new square, I cast on using the backward loop cast on using my left hand. So on the second, when you join the second square, you pick up stitches here, and because I do my edge stitches as I just told you, it's pretty easy and it creates a lovely join line at the back of the work. I will show you in a second. So I pick up stitches, 20 stitches here, and then I cast on 20 stitches here using the backward loop method using my left hand. And you can see how these edge stitches create this lovely line, clean and tidy, you know, a neat line at the back of the work. Yeah, and I'm thinking, what else can I tell you about it? Yeah, I use scrappy socks yarn mainly, but I also made a subscription for Row 1. So Row 1 send you once a month, they send you a lovely pack of minis, I think 10 minis in a pack. Now the pack is mixed with so many others yarn that I have, but it comes in a little pack, it comes in a little fabric bag with hand-dyed yarns, and I think every month they work with another hand-dyed dyer, and it's very special and unique. I'm not sure if I am going to stick with this subscription, but I'm going to give it another month or two, because the first package that I received had too many colorways that I'm not sure I'm going to use in my blanket. I think I mentioned it on my last episode, and I just said it very, very simply, very simple. In my simple English, I try to say that colors really matter to me, and I still, even though it's a scrappy project, I would like to be I would like to create a Moran kind of color story. So I would like, it will be another project with my handwriting. So I'm not making it, you know, just picking up any color from my bag and adding it to my blanket. This is not the way I do it. I know many other knitters do it that way and they enjoy this project up to the sky, but I'm not doing this project that way. This is my way to do it, and therefore I am choosing my colors more or less and planning, you know, with a minimal planning, but I still plan my colors. And this is why I work not just by rows, but I work to both directions at the same time, because I don't want to, you know, make the first row all the way from start to end and then add the other row, because still I think it gives me more control on the colors when I work it that way. So I can, you know, plan areas, different areas in the blanket as I go. It will still be, you know, have like a spontaneous scent, or I don't know how to say it, but it's, yeah, this is how I work it, and I hope I made my point. Yes, so this is, if you are interested, this is how I make my Coziest memory blanket. One more thing, not related to your questions, but I think it's something that might be interesting for you. Every now and then I stop and I tie a knot in the meeting point between two squares, and I tie a knot or two, and then I take each one of the yarn ends and I weave them in the, you know, the joining line, each color to its section, or to the square with its color. So this will go here under these stitches, and this will go under the stitches when I add the next square here. Yeah, so this is regarding my Coziest memory blanket. And the last and final work in progress is almost a finished object. But this is the last project that I will share today. And this is my new Raffia bag pattern. This week I was very busy trying to sort out the design and the making of the handle, and I made quite a few options, but I came out with this handle, which is made out of raffia braid, that made out of pretty, you know, I think 30 strands of raffia held together. I made a braid and I tie a knot on both sides, and then it's still stuffed with newspapers because it's still in the blocking stage. So it's 99% dry, but I have blocked it, and yesterday I finished writing the handles. I finally found the way I like it to be, and it will look like that, and it will look like from the inside it will looks like that. It looks like that. I think you can see it. Yeah. So yesterday I finished writing the handle part in the pattern. I finally found the, you know, easiest way to describe it. Writing down a pattern, you know, writing and describing a simple action that you need to make is more complicated than writing, a complicated stitch. I don't know how to explain it, but this is pattern writer problems. So I finally found, I think it's also, I was a little bit more available to it yesterday morning, and I had a quiet home. My boys went with my mother-in-law for lunch outside. My girl was working outside, and I had some quiet time, and I spent a full day here from morning until late afternoon. I took pictures of how to make it, so it will be, I added pictures to help you along with the making of this pattern, and I also filmed the 5th YouTube tutorial that will go with this pattern. So now it is only a little left for me to add to this pattern making, and so it's still a work in progress, but it's one stage before being a final object. So this is my new Raffia bag. I called it the Millie bag, and it will be released soon. For this Raffia bag, I used Raffia that I got as a gift from one of the Mendes knitters. She lives partially in Israel, and most of the time she lives in Israel, and she also has a home in Tuscany, Italy. So she brought me a few balls of this Raffia, Adriafil Raffia. And this is the same Raffia that I made my como bag. And I used 5 balls for this como bag, as well as 5 balls for my new Millie bag pattern. So 5 balls of this Raffia in the, I think, natural color. Yeah, and for the flowers in the squares, I used Mayak wool, the Tibetan cloud in color Wild Daisy. I will make a separate video, I guess I will make a separate video about all the details on this bag once the pattern is published. Yeah, so now it's still in the blocking stage, and I am about to finish writing down the pattern, just the finishing touches. And I also have to edit the last video that I filmed, but it will be, there are already 4 videos finished and edited that will be included in the pattern. So yeah. And yeah, I think this is it for today. This is everything I wanted to share today. Tomorrow is Friday, and tomorrow I have a small knitting and crochet Friday group, so I made my best to finish up everything I wanted to make this week, and I'm feeling quite on top of the things this week. It's not every week, but this week it happened. The luck was beside me, as we say in Hebrew. The luck was beside me, and this week I feel on top of the things, and it means that I will also publish a blog post tomorrow, which I really wanted to make for quite a long time. So it will be published tomorrow. So if you are a blog subscriber, you will get your CrochetObjet knitting email into your mailbox tomorrow. usually I release my blog posts on Friday in 4 p.m. 4 p.m. So it's afternoon, the Israel time or Jerusalem time, how you call it. Yes, so if I have, if I still have some energy after tomorrow's workshop, I will add a little glimpse of what is happening here, what will be happening here on the table tomorrow. But if not, I will just publish the blog post as is. It's almost done. And yeah, now I will finish this. I will end up this episode and try to, if I'm lucky, I will not have to edit it too much, and I will just upload it as is to my YouTube channel. So once again, thank you so much for taking the time to leave me a comment, to ask questions, thank you for your interest in what I'm sharing here. I hope you will enjoy your weekend. We have a special weekend coming up. It's Eyal's birthday this weekend, and we have some plans for both of us, but also some plans with the kids. So I'm looking forward to enjoy our weekend. I hope you will also enjoy your time, enjoy your weekend. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.